Okay, so we're here with Mahfida, and her project is on floating schools in Bangladesh. Okay, can you tell us a little bit more about your project, please?
So this is my PhD research topic, and I'm looking at the floating school in Bangladesh, which is a sustainable educational planning response for climate change adaptation. We know that everywhere climate change is happening and it's the global crisis. So one of the responses, the planning responses for education was this floating school. So in Bangladesh, education is free. Okay. But ironically, children cannot reach out the school buildings and get educated because during the monsoon season, from at least for 4 months to 6 months, the school's buildings remain inaccessible. So either the roads get damaged or the buildings become shelter for the flood. And sometimes even flood is not there, it's just simple rainfall and you cannot reach out the building. So then one architect, he thought that it's been happening generations after generations, decades after decades, that it cannot go on like this. So if children cannot go to the school can come to the children in the form of boat. So this is how the boat school looks like. And if I want to show you some of the services, so in the morning they teach the children, but in the afternoon they also teach the parents, for example, because we are looking at the most marginalized group living in the remotest areas. So they live in the coastal areas and it is very hard to reach out. They don't have electricity, for example. They don't have basic things, for example. So they have different segments. So they have classrooms, libraries, they have healthcare clinics, they have these solar training workshops, and they also teach environmental education because mostly those parents, those community are either farmers or they're the fishermen. So that's how they're trying to do it. And if you look at the infrastructure, these boats are locally made, and most of the time these are designed by local artisans, and they use recycled materials, cheap materials to come up with the idea. And you can see that how on the top level children are playing. And these swings are made of bamboos and everything. Everything is inside the boat. And on the basement, you have the classrooms. And these are more pictures. You can see that children are sliding on the boat. And they have the classrooms, they have the computer labs, there is the library. And here, the parents are, for example, learning about different projects. And this is how they generate their monthly income. So they have, other than educating them, they also have income generating projects. So this is where you can actually talk about women's empowerment. You can talk about gender development. And you can see that even this is the elevated crop beds I was talking about, that during the heavy monsoon or during flood, because these are farmers and Bangladesh is an agricultural country. So saline water, basically, it actually destroys the land and you cannot cultivate anymore. So the floating school, you can see the boat school standing over there. So they also teach how you can farm on an elevated crop bed, which they call as floating crop beds. And this is how they're doing it so that their crops are not destroyed. So this is a kind of community development. And also, if you look at the structure of the boat, these are all solar powered church. So because we don't have electricity over there, so that's why the most of the time they also have solar lantern, which they provide to the students as a form of scholarship. So they can take the solar lantern back home. They can study in the evening when it's dark, and the parents can work with the solar lantern. The mothers can work, the fathers, if they're fishermen, they can work and go for fishing and the night with a solar lamp.
Okay.
So the monthly income usually for these families are $20 a month.
Canadian.
No, US.
Okay, US dollars. Okay.
And then with this, income generating projects regarding solar lantern and everything, their monthly income increased $5, which is a lot. So this is how this floating school program is looking at not only education, but also community development through many other projects. So my research topic is based on that I want to do a case study based on this floating school program and see the impact of this school, because it's been running for the past 20 years and it's a long way to go, and I want to see what is the contribution so far the schools have made. I mean, I became interested because I realized that when I was looking at the data, I found limited literature and the data was not that much updated and consistent. So many of my questions, I could not find those answers. And I was thinking that maybe it's a good idea to see the overall impact and assess the contribution it has made. And another thing that I'm interested in, it might be a local project, but because climate change is happening globally, right? I mean, any other country can learn and adapt or replicate. Currently, there are 8 countries which are actually looking and testing this innovative development strategy. For example, countries like Cambodia, Pakistan, India, Zambia, Philippines, Vietnam, they are all doing it. So it has got many hours. Including Bill Gates and Melinda Gates Foundation, the Vice Foundation, UNESCO, you name it, you have it. It's almost like that. And surprisingly, my research with the first doctoral research of this.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah,
That's amazing.
I was really interested in it, that it's been happening 20 years and it's been acclaimed internationally. The last award the project got was this year. It got World's Children Award, So this is a mini Nobel Prize. And this project won that award this year. So I was like, it has got so much, but when I look at the literature, why there is not that much information. So that's why I became interested in. And also I thought that regarding the climate justice context, I want to put it within that context because globally, as far as carbon emission is concerned, Bangladesh is producing almost 0.56%, whereas Bangladesh is ranked as 7th most vulnerable countries in the world.
Vulnerable?
Most vulnerable countries. Wow. So that's why this inequality, the carbon emission inequality is there. So that's why I intend to look at it from the social justice and climate justice perspective, so that what is happening, and also as part of this adaptation, how these locally resilient people using their indigenous knowledge, for example, they're coming up to handle such challenges. And
right. Innovative ways of dealing with climate injustice that we're seeing happening. And we know that this is an issue, an ongoing issue. And will there be a resolution? Oh, that's what we're hoping for. And but this floating school, 20 years in the making. So I'm assuming that they're going to keep going. That's the idea.
Yes, that is what they're looking at, and that's why they expanded from one project to another. So they started with this school, but then they went on and on with further other projects. For example, they have their own curriculum, that they have their own environmental books. They're training the youths how to monitor the river, for example, how to clean the environment, for example. So they have other waste recycling groups, for example, and they're doing these small projects, and they also provide loans to women, so that it's a kind of small grants and small loans through which women and these parents, for example, the mothers, they can start up their own project. Yeah. So lots of small things are happening, and because they want to go on, I think that's why, along with the education and sports schooling, they're adding more projects to it so that it can be a kind of comprehensive community development instead of just focusing on children's education. It's just overall. And that is why I'm more interested in it, that I want to see a community being developed rather than one or two children being helped out.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Thank you for sharing, and thank you for being a part of our Tech Expo. I look forward to reading your dissertation in the next 4 years. Okay, thanks, Mahfida. You're welcome. Thank you.